X-Men Days of Future Past is directed by Bryan Singer. He's back from X-Men 1 and 2. And now this story takes place in the far future where basically it's the world of Terminator just replaced Skynet with Sentinels. They've hunted down a lot of humans and mutants, and now the few remaining X-Men include basically what they want to do is they're going to send Wolverine's consciousness back to 1973 to prevent this future from happening. It's essentially Terminator with the mutants and X-Men, sort of. Even though the comic is probably older than Terminator. I don't know. But yeah, a huge cast in this movie. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is back. You got returning cast from First Class. James McAvoy is young Xavier. Patrick Stewart is old Xavier, is also in it. You have past and future in this movie. The cast blends really well. I really like a lot of it, and I can say that I think Future Past might just be the best the X-Men films. I had a great time watching this movie. It was so much fun. I love the elements between past and future because you'll see in real time things going on in the past as it's being changed. The people in the future will start to realize things and see the progress in changing the past. And there's a lot of really cool things going on of the relationships of people in the future that were affected by things going on in the past. It could have been a messy time travel film, but I think it's fine, as I think they do a pretty good job with the continuity from the previous films. There's nothing wrong I can say about Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He's great. And I think an interesting thing is they send him back to 1973, which is before he got the adamantium skeleton. So he's a little weaker in this movie, and he doesn't use his claws or fight as much, which I'd like. It's much more of a character movie for Wolverine as opposed to action, since The Wolverine came out a year before. So if you want your Wolverine action, you've got The Wolverine, which is a year before. And I still think Hugh Jackman did a great job. And I love James McAvoy in this movie also. His Xavier was good in First Class. And it was great here because it's struggling with his inner turmoil. Should he use his powers or take a serum that will suppress his powers in favor of using his legs again? I like that conflict. And I love Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique in this movie. I think she's better than the other actress now. I don't remember her name, but I think this has pretty much convinced me that Lawrence is probably the better Mystique. I liked her in First Class, but she's much more of an interesting character here. You see a lot of her struggles more so, and Lawrence does a great job as Mystique. I might even prefer her as Mystique than as Katniss in the Hunger Games movies. I don't know. Don't yell at me or whatever. But Jennifer Lawrence is a good actress, so it makes sense. And Michael Fassbender as Magneto, great also. And you really get the sense that he is a villain this time around as opposed to a comrade with different ideologies. And even though I still get the vibe here, he's also a lot more of a villain. And he's great to watch on screen. He's amazing, especially some of his exploits later in the film. And there's also Peter Dinklage, I believe it is, as the villain. He works really great, and I really liked his character. I hated his character, but it's an interesting character at least. And you can kind of understand why he's doing what he is in creating the Sentinels, and that's what he does. And a lot of the other conflicts that happen, great. And I haven't mentioned Quicksilver. Amazing. Quicksilver is great in this film. Yeah, he's definitely better than the Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. Sorry, Joss. And this one scene with him, just in the kitchen as he's running around, it's I love that scene. It's so good. And if I can think of some negatives, I'll say the first part of the movie is a little slowish, but after that, it's great from start to finish. And there is a subplot in this movie that was removed from the theatrical cut, but placed in the director's cut and was the Rogue cut, which is the version I watched. And I can understand why it was cut out. So basically, there's this one thing where they want to find Rogue in the Rogue cut, which I'm not really going to explain why, but it's nice to see Rogue again. I just kind of wish they gave her a little more to do, because without that, the theatrical just has her in a cameo in one scene, which I'm not going to spoil. But, whatever. It's what it is. But yeah, there's not a whole lot bad about Days of Future Past. I like the time travel element. It actually works for me. The action is great. It's amazing. I love the characters and their interactions, the stuff they do. Good villain, good characters, good protagonists. The powers are great. The new mutants they have, great. And a lot of this stuff, you understand it. And I also really like the use of the setting, also, of the future and the past. There's some really awesome things in the future and the past. Yeah, it's a great film overall. It's definitely my favorite X-Men movie. maybe even one of my favorite superhero movies. I don't know, could be. So yeah, here's hoping X-Men Apocalypse is great. I'm hoping it's great. Probably won't be greater though. We'll see. I'm gonna give X-Men Days of Future Past a 95%. Loved it. Go check it out. And I'm sorry, one of my best friends really hates this movie. I don't get it. We're still friends though. As far as you know. No, I'm kidding. He doesn't watch these videos, so I can say what I want. Thank you all for watching. Adios, home slices.